3, 2, 1.
Diggin in the crates. Diggin in the crates. Diggin in the crates. Diggin in the crates. Let's take it back.
What's up, guys?
What's going on?
What's up?
Man, we haven't been here in a minute.
How have you guys been?
Every time we jump on, someone dies. So shout out.
Oh my god.
That is actually true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no matter what, every time we jump on, someone dies. We just don't necessarily know. But yeah, man. Rest in peace, Biz Markie. Yeah, man. Where are my cards? I have my cards up too.
You have Bismarck. Oh, that's right. On those little cards we have.
Yeah, he's in there.
I was talking about this earlier on the radio, and Naki can attest to this, Michael, is as a DJ, what we would have to do, especially with Just a Friend, the song Just a Friend, as a DJ, you had to always roll with 2 pieces of vinyl. So this is how we roll. 2 pieces of vinyl in the sleeve, because it came out with LP version on one side, instrumental on the other, because it has that cold intro. You had to do the beats. You had to use the instrumental to get into the song, because, or else you just slammed it. You just slammed that mix in.
That might be one you could slam in, right?
Yeah.
He just cuts a you.
Classic slam.
But I got, you know what, man? I got an opportunity on Friday night while I was DJing to put Just a Friend on, and the whole club was vibing, and they everyone was singing the song. And you think about it, when did the song come out? 1989. Right?
Yeah, I think it was 88 or 89. One of them. Yeah,
These
maybe
kids,
89.
the kids who were dancing weren't even born yet. You know what I mean? They weren't even born yet, but they sang every word to the whole song, and that's just a testament. It's a testament to good music, right? To me, a hit is a hit is a hit. So shout out to Biz, man. That song is a hit forever.
Yeah, and a lot of people. I mean, I knew this. I think we covered this maybe maybe a few episodes ago, where Big Daddy Kane actually wrote for Biz Markie. He wrote The Vapors. He wrote a lot of those songs because Biz Markie put him on and took him on tour. And so he was the catalyst to help Big Daddy Kane get a record deal.
Yeah, I saw Big Daddy Kane on his IG. He gave one of those heartfelt condolences and shout out to Biz for putting him on. And man, you could just tell, man, that dude was just broken up about losing Biz Markie.
Yeah, it was I mean, the 15 days 2 weeks ago when they first released it and everyone thought, he had passed. I mean, that was tough, man, because I'm thinking about a lot of the other founding fathers of hip hop, that passed on, from Ecstasy, Gift of Gab, all these different cats, in their 50s, and it was just like it's sad because they don't really get the credit, man, that they so deserved, seeing what the music business of hip hop has evolved into. They don't get the credit, and I hate that.
Well, I'll tell you, what's crazy, Naki, is I was seeing some of these, these new up and coming artists, and just listening to them talk, and you're thinking like they owe it to the founding fathers. Somehow they owe it to them, but I don't think they see it that way. They because I'm trying to remember which artist this was. It was like a big artist that said they had never listened to Tupac before.
Yeah, I think I saw that. It was one of those one of the little guys, little somebody.
But he was dead. So he goes, I just listened to a Tupac record recently. I'd never listened to him before. And yeah, his lyrics are kind of cool. I was like, huh?
Wow.
But he wasn't he didn't. And
he meant it. Yeah, he was being sincere, right?
He didn't mean it in a disrespectful way. Their go-tos are like the Lil Waynes and stuff like that. So you know, and us, I mean, Naki and I, we go way back to like the Cold Crush Brothers and
That's right.
Master Flash and the Fury,
The funky 4+1, man. Let's go.
Treacherous 3. We go way back. So, you know, you look at something like that, and then you know, you think about the 90s hip hop guys, they kind of played homage to those guys, but not really either. Not really either. They weren't like, oh, I'm going to put this guy on my back and bring him as a feature. And so you got to imagine, you got 2-3 generations of hip hop, like separating the new kids now. They have no clue. There's no history book, right? No one has written a history book about hip hop to say, okay, the first DJ to scratch a record was Kool Herc or something.
Right.
I don't even know if they would care. I don't even know if they would care about that because it doesn't impact them anyways, you know?
I think it's enough information available if you research or, you know, you want to know about your craft, you know, where it came from. I'm sure there's enough information out there, but what I was told, I would say in the Lil Jon and the East Side Boys era, like the 2005, 2007, you know, up in that time, that we was entering the era where they called it microwave music. And you know the difference between microwave chicken and baked chicken. You already know the difference. One take longer to cook, but it's delicious when it's done. The one that's come out fast, yeah, you may get to eat it, but it might not be as good as the baked stuff. So when they ushered into that microwave era, they just totally forgot about what was built the last 15, 20 years that made hip hop to what it was at that particular time.
Yeah.
Sean Paul
I really don't think there's any going back. I don't think that. I think our expectations are way out of pocket for these young kids who are doing the music now, because they're not taking from the 80s hip hop. They're not even taking from the 90s hip hop doing what they do now. They're taking from each other. They're not even going back far enough. Right? They're not going back far enough. I mean, the T-Pain rant is the best rant I've seen on the internet in years. It was so on point. But the only people who like that rant are us old heads. We're the only ones who like that rant.
Because I mean, we understand where he's coming from, and not only that, you got to look at some of the. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, man. Look at some of the stations that used to be on top when hip hop was Jay-Z, Nas, you know, all these different stations used to be on top. If you look at those same stations now, it's terrible because a lot of people don't like the music. And it's not necessarily that every rapper that's out is bad. Don't get me wrong. I like Lil Baby. I like Travis Scott. It's a few other ones.
Oh, you're an old head. Those guys are old. They're an old head. This new guy.
Lil Baby is new. He's like the GOAT of this era, I believe.
Well, he's teamed up with 50 Cent, right?
He actually did a record with Kanye. Mm-hmm. He did a record with Kirk Franklin that was on the Space Jam 2 soundtrack. That's amazing. I mean, this kid is like, he's really, really, you know, doing what he needs to do to solidify himself as not just a microwave artist or
a fad.
You know, he's bridging the gap. I mean, like I said, you know, I had an instance where if a Lil Baby record would come on in a car, my wife would turn it. Like, just couldn't stomach it. But when I played the record with Kirk Franklin, she loves gospel. She said that's one record that I would definitely listen to by Lil Baby. So he's getting those fans on that opposite side that would never take a chance on him.
It's kind of crazy how music's coming out too, though. Some of these guys, their production comes after their fame. Like Migos, those guys sounded terrible, you know, like horrible when they were popular. But once they got popular, their sound changed.
They got better.
And their lyrics changed for the better, for the way better, you know, so that everybody can understand them, everybody can relate to them. And then they just opened up their network. But man, I mean, I couldn't stand him, and I couldn't listen to him like the way you're saying. Stomach
But
to
that's
listen.
what maturity does. You get so tired of your peers beating on you or beating you up, saying, do this, do that, you sound this, you sound that. Not that you're supposed to care about what other people think, but when it's a peer, someone that you idolized or looked up to or even heard about that made noise in the industry, and they're constantly like saying, step your game up, get your lyrics right, get your flow right. And they did that. So, I commend them for making that change and trying to make music better. Because they're the examples.
Yeah.
As of now, no one is gonna say, a new rapper coming up, he's not gonna say, I'm a pattern my sound after Jay-Z. He's going after Migos. He's going after, Lil Baby or whoever else is considered. Young Thug is considered one of the ones that they look up to. Rowdy Rich got a lot of his sound from Young Thug. He stated that before. Young Thug got a lot of his style and sound from Lil Wayne. So it goes on that way.
And it was Lil Yachty said that Biggie and Pac were overrated 5 years ago. He said that. He said some stuff, and that little Xan guy said he dissed him too. But just recently, I think I was watching somebody said something else, Hot Box or something. Mike Tyson, and he had one of the rappers on there, and he didn't say it. Mike Tyson's a huge Tupac fan, so he didn't say it in a disrespectful way. He said it like, "Yeah, I just heard Tupac for the first time, and I thought about it. My natural instinct is to get mad and go, oh man, he's lying or this and that. But I thought about it. I said, he really hasn't put on a Tupac record. It wouldn't resonate with him right now. If he put a Tupac record on, he'd listen to it and go, yeah, it's all right. Right. Cause that's not what he's into. He's not into, he's like, yeah, man, that Tupac record, it's all right. And we sit here and our minds would get blown. I think, Naki, you and I were in the studio one time on 3rd Street, and that mom, remember, she brought her 13-year-old son in there, and she said something like, do you like Tupac or something like that? And he was like, nah, I don't even listen to Tupac. And I remember just losing my mind. I said, you raised this kid this way? She's
right. We want to strangle the little guy. Like, what are you talking about, man?
But then you put it in context. I take if I take my emotions out of it, I go, yeah, because my son, my 16-year-old son, his go-to is not Tupac. Like Lil Baby's his go-to, and those artists are like the ones that he gets turned up, and he knows what he knows. Like the excitement when those songs come on with all of his friends and the girls, and they're all jumping up and down and like slam dancing into each other and stuff. You put on a Tupac song, like at one of their dances or anything, the kids are like, all right, all right. They're not going hate, they're not going crazy.
My thing has always been you don't have to like a lot of the artists from the past, but know the history. You know what I'm saying? Just know the history, know where this came from, because it's like if you don't, you're doing yourself a disservice by not knowing the history of what you're doing.
You're saying an artist. That's what an artist should do.
Yes, an artist, new artist.
Yeah. I would have agreed with you yesterday had we not just started this conversation. No, I'm serious. I would have agreed with you 100% yesterday. But the more I keep thinking about this, why? If they're getting paid right now to do the same junk, the same mumbo jumbo as the next artist, and they're getting paid. These young guys, and they're about to really get paid because they're going to start being able to tour again. They're going to be able to go on these tours.
They're touring now. Yeah, they're back.
Right? So they're going to be making more money than those previous artists ever made on a tour, a 1-year tour. Those guys will have and pocket more money than any of the forefathers of hip hop ever did. And the thing that motivates these kids, these new artists now, is not history, it's money. That's the only thing that motivates.
Yeah, I agree. But with today's industry, the turnover rate is so high. So at the end of the day, the more you know, the more you grow. You know what I'm saying? If you constantly keep doing the same stuff, let's just say, you haven't learned anything about growth or even about the history of what you're doing. I mean, when Lil Baby first came out, you think his first choice was to do a song with Kirk Franklin? I don't think so. But as he evolved in the industry and knew how, if he did this record, how it would impact his career going forward, bringing him a whole new audience, it made sense for him.
I think you're right. I think but that comes with growth. I think
yes,
as a young artist jumping in right now, like if I was to get in, I'm 16, 17 years old and I want to be famous and I want to have, my music heard by the masses. I'm not looking to the past to like get a history lesson. I'm looking at what's happening on now, like what's going on now. Can I blend? Can I get into this right now? Yeah. I can flow because there's no trick to the flow of hip hop right now. Everyone flows. Yeah. There's no trick. The trick is to get a hook, right? Is to get that little 20-second TikTok hook. That's the trick for music now. So I think that we've allowed it to be dumbed down to this point.
I don't know about that. I mean, if that's what the new generations want, then that's where the industry or the culture is going to go. That's not us three consciously letting it happen. That's not how art flows,
Right. I think it all goes back to the microwave versus baked. Everything's become faster. Everything's become
everything's more accessible.
Accessibility, yes.
We can each cut an album today from these three little studios that we have at our house.
Yeah. And then just imagine this, how back, when we used to have to stand in line to purchase a CD or go pick vinyl or this and that. No. Now, as you just listen to the albums on your phone, it's just, now I love that technology has evolved. I'm not the type of person who will be stuck on how things are. Because if it can make things better, yes, let's do that. But at the end of the day, it's like these kids, man, this is their choice, but I feel like they didn't have the proper guidance to do it in a better way where they would know the history.
And they didn't need
just
it.
Dive right in.
They didn't need it. They had the tools, on hand and on their laptops, and
that's true.
And then they could pump it out there. I mean, did you put the Spotify thing up the other day, Naki? Was that you? About how many songs are put every day? 60,000 was it? So it's almost one.
That wasn't me, but I think somebody put it up.
So I think 1 per second song gets uploaded as music on Spotify
every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's the content, man. It's like people ears are they get tired quickly now because it's so much music to digest. I mean, Pop Smoke just released a new album. I haven't had a chance to listen to it, but I'm gonna listen to it. Vince Staples released the album. I can't get around. I'm still stuck on Tyler Creator's album, which I think is the best album of the year right now. Until Kanye drops on the 24th, let's see what he does.
It's coming, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So but as it stands, I'm just stuck on Tyler Creator right now. I'm gonna move on to the other guys and give them a chance. But for right now, it's Tyler and it's J. Cole to me that has the best rap albums of 2021. That's my opinion.
That's what my son. That's what Dallas told me. He's like, "Yeah, Tyler Creator's new album is the best.
It's amazing. It's amazing."
I'm like, really? Should I listen to some of it?
Listen to it. I promise you that it's no skips. it's like it's all the way through, man, and the transitions of the beats and the content is just it's. I mean, he's so underrated, but I mean,
he's a Grammy Award winner. I don't know how underrated he is.
Well, you know, you still you still don't get respect from peers, but you know, at the end of the day, I think he really did it on this one.
Yeah, I think what he's got so far came with the fame more than his own industry's recognition.
To me, it's like the guy put in a lot of work. I remember taking Dallas to his first concert. It was a Tyler, the Creator concert there at the Warfield in San Francisco. And I never heard of the kid, like never. And my son was just like all about Odd Future. He wore all the clothing, watched the TV shows and all this stuff. And I go, okay, man, you know, I know the Warfield. I know the area. We'll just kind of cruise up there and jump in line. So I get up there. And I go, man, that line goes all the way to the end of the corner. Oh, well. So I get to the end of the corner. I'm about to pop in. And they're like, hey, the line's back there. I look, the line going around the corner, all the way up to the end of the other corner and around the other corner. I went, hey, Dallas, we're going to have to see if I know somebody at the front door, man. That's
haven't stood in the line. And
man, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, how did they know? How did they know about this concert? It wasn't promoted on radio. It wasn't like in like trade mag. How do these kids know? And that was when I first like go, okay, this whole social media thing, I'm light years behind what's happening out there, and I got to learn this thing fast. But I didn't learn it.
What year do you think that was?
He was 14. He's 21 now. 7 years ago. What is that?
It's like 2014,
2014, 2013, maybe.
Instagram was still getting rolling, but there wasn't even probably like decent heavy video
Our
at that
Future
time.
was like a deep, dope group. I mean, they had Frank Ocean in there, man. They had like
Earl Sweatshirt, all these other
guys. They got all these guys in there that like, you know, kind of like a
it was like
a Wu-Tang-ish type clique, you know, and they produced some good music. It was pretty good. I mean, I was definitely you know, intrigued by what they were doing, and now seeing how everybody broke off and did solo projects that developed into something good, it's like, you know, that was kind of like a precursor to what the younger generation could do if, you know what I'm saying, they did their research.
Well, remember they had their own television show on Adult Swim. They had that clothing line that just went bananas. You know, all the kids were wearing that clothing. I mean, you got to give it up to them and give it up to Tyler, the Creator, man. The guy had a great vision and still does, obviously.
Still does.
And then, you know, I remember he also wanted to go to that Logic show. And I didn't I didn't really know too much about Logic. And you were telling me, Naki, you're like, man, this Logic kid is like legit. I'm like, what? And to that concert, I was like, oh, damn. Like,
it was crazy. This guy. I mean, you know, and just to see Billy like, what? Like, I was like, I told you, man, this dude, I mean, he, you know, at the time he had the song out about suicide prevention and things like that. To me, he kind of reminded me of evangelist, like with Joel Osteen of rap, you know, preaching, you know. But he had a real good message behind his record.
Non-denominational rap,
right? And he had a real strong following because that place was packed.
Was that the Bill Graham, or was I went with you in Dallas to something at the Bill Graham? Do you remember what it was?
It was probably one of, you know, the cool thing though that I appreciate about Dallas's ear is he does pick up on those kinds of artists where he doesn't like really fall into the commercial side of things. You know, Naki, like that's why I was like, I didn't know who those artists were, but somehow my 14-year-old, and he started when he was 12 to 14-year-old son was finding these new artists on, you know, YouTube or wherever they were finding it at that time, and then just embracing it. So I was like, well, you know, hey, keep telling me, so I don't feel too old here.
keep it coming.
Yeah, that's how a lot of them got discovered. You know, SoundCloud was kind of like the catalyst for that. Then you got YouTube. Yeah, so even like when you talk about Flowers, like Soldier Boy, I mean, despite hate him or love him, he did a lot of stuff before everybody.
Yeah.
And it's good to see a lot of people giving him his credit. Saying for a lot of stuff. Using the internet to your advantage to sell records and it's a lot of stuff that he was doing. I mean, that whole "Kiss Me Through the Phone." That was something that before they had the FaceTime, thing with the phones. He was actually one of the people that was like kind of like pushing for that. So it's good to see that he's getting his credit, even though he had to go take it. but he's getting it though.
Well, my thing is, so because you, me, anybody can produce a hit out of our homes, what's the need for record labels? For major record labels, what's the need for them?
Well, they have marketing dollars.
Yeah, you could pay to get the name out, right?
And they have access to radio. They can
interviews,
get you with that extra promotion. So I think there will always be a need for them, because if you think about it, as an artist, you want to do your record and you want to tour. You don't want to be stuck in the office doing graphics or doing the publishing information. So they pretty much, it's a small need for them unless you have a team that can do those things, but the marketing dollars, man, that's the main thing. They can get those records into places that you probably can't as an indie.
I could see that. But I think that starts to diminish after more and more guys do it independently, because you've got that independent label out of San Francisco, Empire, and they've seemed to have like figured out the matrix of the big record companies where they're able to give independent artists their opportunity to make the real money in music. It seems like they've kind of figured that out. I just think that more artists are going to be able to crack that nut, where the need a record label is going to have to sort of reinvent themselves, right? What they're bringing to the table versus you had to bring everything to the table before to get a record deal. Now the record company needs to come to you and say, well, we can provide X, Y, and Z. Let's do this together versus let's take all your money.
See, here's what record labels are doing, and they're being called out for it because a lot of the average consumers don't know what this is. They're doing this thing where it's called industry plants. What they do is they put an artist out and they will kind of fake like their grassroots and they're struggling and they're hitting the ma and pop diners, trying to get their music out.
I'm in all day.
And that's not the case. There's one artist, her name is, her.
Oh yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. They consider her an industry plant because she had a record deal since she was 15. And it didn't work. She could play instruments. She was on Good Morning America. She even had, her real name is
him. No.
No, it's what's her real name is, she went by her real name. Well, I forget her real name. Gabby Wilson. I think that was her real name.
Sarmiento Wilson.
And it didn't work. So what she did was she had this alias where she created this whole new image, this her artist girl, and they put out the records on SoundCloud, and they grassroots the whole project has made people think that, hey, this girl independent. We only rock with the indie artists. You know how it is. Yeah. And then once she caught on, she got rid of the Gabby Wilson thing and was full-fledged her. But a lot of bloggers and tastemakers are calling people out on that because they even look at Chance the Rapper and say, he's an industry plant. Because, he had some dealings with Universal and some dealings with Spotify. And, he had some stuff that he had lined up while he was doing the struggle route, if you will. But that's what they're doing to kind of keep their ear to the streets by putting these industry plants out.
That's interesting.
It's crazy.
It's all, it's all kind of a hustle too on the back end of things. I just think that music is in that phase right now. It's very disposable, right? You have artists that are, never in the history of radio or music did you have an artist that could have 3 songs on the radio at once, right? You couldn't do it. There was more than a handful of artists that were on popular radio. You had, 20, 30 different artists with singles on radio, where now it really feels like the movie industry where they do sequels, they do or reboots of movies.
Reboot
Wants to take the chance on a new sound or a new artist. It seems like to me, right? They don't really want to put their reputation out there and break a new record. Go, this is a different sound. This sounds totally different than every other song on my radio station. I'm going to play it. I just, or they don't even get it in their hands. I don't think. It's strange to me. It's strange.
It's a lot of. There's a lot of greasing going on. It's a lot of
more of a machine too, right? Like
it's and the thing about it that's funny, it's like it's a lot of watching. Like you got stations that watch stations. Like, let me see what they plan. Let me see what they plan. Which is always want to know what your competition is doing. But if you're a station that can break records, it's gonna prevent you from being the trendsetter. You know what I'm saying? Like. You know what I'm saying? You won't, like Billy was saying, you won't take a chance on a new artist because you either watching this or you I'm playing what he playing, or he said it's okay, so I'm gonna play it. It kind of it's sad that happens because a lot of artists don't get chances.
Right.
And then when you have artists with multiple songs off the same project that's rotating on a station, that eliminates a spot for someone who, can have a spot to get their record in there.
I'll tell you something that
crazy.
It messed me up a little bit because I just started playing this record not too long. This Tank record.
I was about to say.
Oh, yeah.
I was about to ask Naki if Tank is one of those
plants. Nah, he's not a plant. He's not. He's definitely not a plant. He paid his dues.
Yeah,
okay. No, I don't know. I never heard of him. I was just,
Oh, no.
But what were you gonna say about it?
Years. But what I'm saying about this song is, how do you do a Maxwell song? Like, it's Maxwell, but he's changed the lyrics. He changed it, and it's like it's the same exact song. So anytime I was hearing it before I started playing, I go, "Wow, man, people are really liking that Maxwell. Like they're like really starting to play that Maxwell again." Because I'm hearing it off in the distance. I'm not like paying too much attention to it because it feels like
it's number one.
You just hear the music, the melody.
I'm playing it. It's a great song.
It's a dope song.
It's a great song, but then you go, well, the friggin' Maxwell song was a great song.
See, the thing is, it's not even a Maxwell record. It's actually a remake. Maxwell did a cover of that song on the MTV Unplugged. So it's actually a young lady's record. I forget her name. She's a pop artist or something, but it's her record. But Maxwell made it popular with the urban community,
right?
And Tank, he rebooted it. He did a Space Jam too.
It looks the same.
Space Jam reboot of a song, and it's not like he pulled the song out from like the 50s and redid.
Right.
It's like that song just came out not too. Yeah, I guess. It might have came out. How long ago did that song came out?
So it was I just looked up the original. Recorded 1988. It's British. Kate Bush.
Kate Bush, that's her name. Yep, that's her. Kate Bush, that's her record. Yep.
When did Maxwell do it?
Let's see, 2001.
Yeah, 2000, somewhere around 2001.
2001.
Yep.
Recorded 2001.
Record, right?
You got the 20-year window. So is it okay to use it after 20 years?
Yes.
I think if it's good enough, because back in the 50s and 60s, you'll hear, I started looking up some of these years, and there's 3 versions of the same song.
Yeah, well,
They
would come out the exact same time. Like you'd have like Elvis Presley, a Carl Perkins, and all these.
Someone else will grab it and,
same time
and do it immediately. Yeah. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, what I was always told, if something was a hit 20 years ago, it would be a hit today. So that's what I was told.
Okay, so let's say that's true. We might be onto something right now.
Oh yeah.
What if we put out California Love, a reboot of California Love, and you put 2 new artists on it? Would it still have the same effect that the original California Love had?
What about
if we use the California Raisins?
I was gonna say the newly formed Mount Westmore crew. What if they did a redo of California Love and they all had their own verse?
It's got to be brand new artists, right? It's got to be.
But do y'all think it's certain records that you can't touch, like that? That's like masterpieces that you shouldn't Space Jam to it.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
I think it's kind of one of those things where you sit back and you go, "Yeah, go ahead." You're expecting to see someone flat fall on their face, and without really telling them. But if they kill it, they're in.
So
right?
if you want to reboot California Love, it would definitely have to be a new artist from California.
Right?
Yes.
That I don't know who's like.
I don't either.
Dominating or even a factor in the new generation that's from Cali besides Tyler. He's from California.
Let's take California Love off the table.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's say
California Dreaming. I'm just kidding. Mom and Papa's.
How about
There's a beautiful house version to that song. It's been done. It's amazing.
I heard it.
Could somebody redo a Biggie record? Any Biggie record? Could someone redo it right now? Give it a new spin on it.
It's interesting you say that about the Biggie remake. It's definitely possible, but here's something that is that's kind of crazy, right? When Biggie came out with One More Chance, he sampled El DeBarge's "Stay With Me" record, right? So he pretty much made that record popular in the rap community, at least that sample, right? You go 2021, you got Moneybagg Yo, who takes the same El DeBarge sample, and he drops a record called Waukesha, which is about liquor, the lean. So I'm sure he did the sample not because it was an El DeBarge record, but it was because Biggie used it. And the same way Ashanti did with what's the song she did?
On
with the same sample.
Do.
Yeah.
Unfoolish, yeah.
Is it Foolish?
Well, it's Foolish, and then the one with Biggie on it's called Unfoolish or something like that.
Right. But Biggie made that popular, that at least that El DeBarge sample in the rap community.
Right.
So it's kind of like a Biggie remake, but not a Biggie remake.
No, I'm talking about using the exact words Biggie used, like saying I'm going to reboot and redo Biggie,
like a cover.
A cover. You're doing a cover,
but
an artist, right?
Where Tank didn't cover. His song was a little different.
He chopped it up. He used the hook.
Yeah.
Tank used the hook and just did different verses.
Kind of went in and out and gave it a new story, which I thought was really cool.
Can you cover? Now, could you cover a Biggie? Could you cover a Tupac?
I don't think so. I think if you're going to cover it, you have to just sample it or take from it and use portions of it and not necessarily cover the whole song.
Because their voices were their own half the story anyway when you listen to them, right? Like, I don't think anyone could come out and they could put their own verse on it, but they're never going to be able to touch their two voices.
So is hip hop the only genre of music you can't cover?
Or remake or reboot?
No, just cover. You can't cover hip hop. Is that the only genre of music?
I wouldn't say that. I would say different genres do it all the time. Like I think Fall Out Boy and Weezer did some rap songs before where they just sang the lyrics of a rap song, but it was in a rock format.
And maybe somebody could like sing "Dear Mama," right?
No, I'm talking about
a
a brand new up and coming artist, or even an established artist,
and cover it
and cover like verbatim cover a rap song, just like Whitney Houston covered a Dolly Parton record, right? It was one of her biggest records ever. She covered a song that was already out and done before. Same with
it's different rules. I think different rules apply. And I think that's messed up because hip hop put all these stipulations into play when the genre was created, as far as like rappers having to write their own lyrics. You're not a true MC if you don't write your own lyrics, but you're writing a song. It's okay if Quincy Jones team up with 5 other guys to make a hit for Frank Sinatra, but it's not okay if Kanye have 5 other writers on his record. I mean, I'm for the song, you know what I'm saying? So I'm okay with rappers teaming up to, trade lyrics to make a song, because at the end of the day, it's a song.
Yeah, but that's the thing, Naki. It's like it's like sort of this total double standard, because you say that about hip hop, and we say that about hip hop, yet every rapper out right now tries to sound like the last rapper or the last one that just had a hit, but you can't cover a record. And I think that not covering records, being able to cover a hip hop record might have, or if you were able to cover those hip hop records, you might have given life to the Treacherous Three. You might have given life to these 80s artists, where you're like, listen, I'm going to redo your song. You're going to get paid again. And you're going to have some interest in your catalog again, because I covered you. Me, this brand new big artist, covered you.
Can you see Lil Baby saying, clap your hands, everybody? Everybody, clap your hands.
Yeah, but why not? Right?
That's true. That's true. But see, this all goes back to rap putting all these stipulations in there, which they shouldn't have. I think it should have been kind of even how the rest of the genres go. If Whitney can cover Dolly Parton, why can't
Lil Baby cover
Curtis Blow? We're gonna do this joint in stereo. You
know what? And who wouldn't be mad at him covering is Curtis Blow. Curtis Blow.
Say, do it.
Do it.
Please.
But yeah, you have a valid point. I mean, I think it's not fair, because it's just too many stipulations. They got the old rapper. You can't be rapping if you're 50 years old. It's like, if you're making songs, you got so many artists, man, that are still putting out records. Charlie Wilson, Tony Bennett. These guys are like still touring and putting out hit records, and they over 50, 60 years old. But that's it apply in rap. They look down on you for doing that.
I think that the notion of it has been so taboo for so long, and actually I think it was rappers being very territorial about their work, about their material. The same way Prince was. Prince was like, man, you can't do my song unless you're sleeping with me, right?
Yeah,
you can't use my music. But the songs that Prince let people redo were smash hits, right?
Were.
Shaka Khan, she redid I Feel For You. Who's the other girl?
Sinead O'Connor.
Sinead O'Connor toward the one. She had a huge song. So if people were able to redo an artist like Prince, I mean, of course it was with his blessing, but I would think, and I'm pretty sure, those 80s hip hop and early 90s hip hop artists who are struggling a little bit right now, and a little bit bitter, if one of these new young guys came out and said, hey man, I want to cover your record, man, trust me, they're going to let them cover it. They're going to.
It's been some covering, but not full covering. Like, Gucci Mane did a Posse's on Broadway remake where it's like Posse's on some street in Atlanta, but he
E40
still
did
kept.
too.
Yeah, E40 did a cover kind of, but it's more so they add their own spin to it. Not 100% like what Tank did, but they keep the same cadence and the noticeable parts of the song that stood out.
I'm interested. I'm interested to see if an artist could pull that off. I think that would just breathe. Well, it would be that history lesson, right, Naki, that you're talking about. It would be, oh, who was that? And where did they come from? And when did that song come out? I think that young people would definitely, because they want to know, they're going to Google it. Oh, man, that song actually came out 1989. And
that's the research, because how did we find out that Tank, who covered Maxwell, who covered Kate Bush, we found out because we researched it. Right. And that's the history of the game. So I say, let's do this. Let's throw out some titles, like some songs and an artist that we think should Space Jam to it. A new legacy. What you got? Oh, okay. Okay.
So who would we have cover Just a Friend?
Let me see. Who we have covered Just a Friend?
They got to be able to sing off key. No auto tune allowed. They got to be off key.
And it has to be a new artist, right?
New artist. Oh, relatively new. Relatively new.
How about, let's say,
you said it earlier. What about Tyler the Creator?
I think he could pull
that. Would be a great.
I think he could pull that.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. That's a great pick for that one. I think he definitely would be able to pull that off.
I think he would sound so good at pulling that record off. Actually, contact him today and say, "We've got an idea for you. Diggin In Da Crates has an idea for you. Can you add it to your new Grammy album? Thank you."
Yeah, he could pull that off. I think that was a great pick, and because he does a lot of dressing up, he does a lot of costumes, he does a lot of, kind of some of the stuff that Biz did back.
Got the character.
The character stuff. Yeah, so I think that one definitely makes sense.
Okay, so then you talked about the breaks. Who could do the Curtis Blow, the breaks?
Oh, that's going to be tough, man.
Clap your hands, everybody.
It's a whole different...
Clap your hands. Dude,
my guys.
That's tough. That's tough. I'm trying to picture it. It's hard to picture that.
You know who hasn't had a record in a long time that might be it might sound interesting if he did it? B.O.B.
I think he could do that.
Right? Because
I think he could do that.
He's kind of a take on Andre 3000 to me anyways. I think I've kind of always felt like he stole a little bit of Andre 3000's
yeah, he got a similar voice too. Yeah. I think he could probably do that.
Might be able to pull that. Do you think Fabulous could pull it off?
Not the breaks.
No, not the breaks.
Mm-mm.
No, you have to give Fab, like, he has to do something like
Hypnotized.
Nah, like, so what you're saying, like by EPMD, like he could do like so what you're saying.
He's got to slow it down a little bit and be cool.
Yeah. I can hear him flowing over that beat.
Yeah,
but he'd have to team up with somebody.
All right, so we'll go
Mace and Fabulous.
What?
He's got that draw.
Same voice.
That could work. That could work. I mean,
there's probably some software we could just make this happen without them.
That definitely could work. I was thinking. I mean, Mace doesn't get the praise for being a lyrical guy, but
man,
trying to find somebody else that can match
Fabulous
wordplay.
Let's see, who could do that? Let's come back to that one.
Let's come back to that.
Let's think of one of those iconic voices. I'm thinking a little bit West Coast here, Naki, like Eazy-E, like to redo Boys in the Hood or
that
something.
That should be doable.
Actually, see,
That
this
should
is
be
what I'm
doable.
saying, man. It's crazy because Meg The Stallion did a Boys in the Hood remake. She did that. Yeah, she actually did that, but it was more like the Tank way, not the
Not the actual lyric for
right. But she kept the hook and all that stuff.
Well, I think
And it was a
Sample.
dope song. It was dope.
Yeah.
and I think that she probably did that, and her producer did that on purpose. Like we can't bite this 100%. We got to put our flair on it. I'm thinking,
But I mean, that's just sampling.
the rules were off. You can do it now. You can do the whole thing. The way it was meant to be done.
Well, we're gonna put together a list, and for the next podcast, let's have a list of our top 3. You have everybody. All of us have 3 songs that we're gonna do the remakes.
We should
Four
have-
remake. No Tank. We're going straight Space Jam, a new legacy. We're
Just
gonna
a
redo
cover. A cover.
it. Straight cover.
we got to go further than space. How do we get
Karaoke. Who do we put up on that stage to do someone else's song?
who
Yeah.
people would want to see? I really am interested because I would actually like to hear where before if you had asked me like a couple days ago, hey man, what if somebody redid a Easy record? I'd be like, man, blasphemy, right? Blasphemy. But when you think about it, man, it would be a great way to get some shine for those 80s artists and those 90s artists again. To have
Right. Paying that homage to them.
right.
And putting shining light on their record, because a lot of people may not know where this record came from.
Like the Boogie Boys, Fly Girl. Like how many people like today would know that record? And that was a big record.
Yeah, that was a big record. Yeah.
Fly Girl. Or the UTFO,
E40. Another E40 cover.
Roxanne, or those kind of records. And
Mm-hmm.
those are some of those like not lost, but hidden gems of hip hop that the younger generation will never, unless they go searching, they'll never know about these records unless someone redid it,
E40 did Fly Girl, right?
Fly Girl before. He
Fly
did
Girl.
the tank. He did the tank way though. Yeah, he tanked it.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what everybody does though. Like,
Right, everybody does it the tank way.
not-
They don't do
and
a
then
full
it's-
remake.
And then it's hip hop and rap, so then you have your own style, and it's not like you sing a song and then everyone learns it. It's you have your style, and that's your style, right? Like it used to be, you want to be different, so you would never do that. That's just not the flow of hip hop.
I don't know. You probably have a hard time convincing a new artist to redo verbatim.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Right? You'd have a hard time.
It's definitely gonna be tough.
That'd be funny. Like, so I don't. Oh man, I got a great verse for this. No. Do this. You're gonna do this.
What's this? I need you to say, "Clap your hands, everybody."
Who would redo? Lil Nas X doing Cisco's thong song?
I can see that.
Song? Yeah,
I can see that. I definitely can see that. He would probably slay that one. I think he could do that.
he would probably.
That would be dope.
Oh,
I don't recall Cisco wearing a thong in his video.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, wait a minute. This is.
well, you definitely know Lil Nas X will put a thong on for that. He'll definitely show that.
Oh yeah. Damn it! You put a visual in my head, Naki.
Oh man.
Hey, you're welcome. You're all welcome.
But that's good though. That's good. So I think we should definitely come up with a list, man, and pick some artists and pick some songs and let's do the full remake and just Space Jam it, bro.
Did you guys watch Space Jam 2?
I haven't yet.
I haven't
watched
yet,
it
but there's no way I was gonna go to a theater for it. But it's on HBO, so I might,
Yeah, I might sneak a little.
I might
peek
watch
of
it.
And they keep giving the disclaimer that it's for kids because they say LeBron acting isn't the best, but
They had to put a disclaimer.
well, you got the LeBron fans and the apologists, the people who are pro LeBron. They're saying the movie's for kids. because a lot of people
okay.
was criticizing his acting, but I mean, he's a basketball player. He ain't he's not a Denzel Washington. You know what I'm saying? So what you expect?
Jordan didn't do too much either, Like he was
right.
just a lot of reaction shots and
yeah. So it's like, what's the big deal?
Yeah,
right. It's like, but he's getting a lot of criticism for that, and it's like, okay.
Does he fall down a lot in the?
yeah. Does he flop as much as in real life, or was he acting?
I think it's
doing,
5 times he flopped. No, I'm just kidding.
what's
No
great
flopping.
Is LeBron James is a beast. There's no if
He
ands.
is. He's a beast. He's definitely a top 5 player to me.
Yeah, and I just, to me, it's kind of weird that is such a part of his game, or what he's going to be remembered for, the flopping and the that gamesmanship versus like how great of a basketball player he really is. People are like, ah, man, he fell down, or he's faking that, or I mean, I saw where they were like, he was acting like in one of those playoff games, like he got elbowed in the face, and he was like, he like fell on the ground. I was like, man,
against the Warriors, because then he told Curry, he was like, yeah, and I couldn't see anything, and then Curry was like, whatever.
A lot of this drama comes from his own fans, with this little Jordan versus LeBron debate. And, a lot of the criticism of, how people, view him comes from them, because they opened up that can of worms. And then him also being the self-proclaimed king or the best player in the world, when he actually said that.
Oh, he said that?
Oh,
Yeah, he said he was the best. They asked him.
He said that.
And then we
like,
talked about that, because Jordan never said that.
Right. It's like, just let the people decide on let them talk. Let them decide on who they think is the best. You can, discuss that amongst your friends and stuff, but don't go out in public and say, hey, I'm the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
It's like, you just gotta let other people say.
Champ, if you say that. You're your own champ when you say that.
It just makes you look like it just makes people really like crucify you after that, because it's like, it's a lot of other play. Everybody should think that they're great. Don't get me wrong, but let the public decide it. Not, you going out campaigning that you're the best in the world. No, let the public do that, and you save that for yourself, I think.
So who do you have, Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
I got Jordan, man. I mean, I'm pro Jordan, but I'm also pro LeBron. I like him too. Don't get me wrong, but I just think they're totally 2 different players. The closest to Michael Jordan would be Kobe in my mind. If you were,
I agree with that.
But I couldn't compare Jordan to LeBron because their game is so different.
Right.
So
I just think, and I think the element of toughness that era of basketball was.
Yeah.
Like, if you to have that kind of longevity in that span in those 80s, those guys were killing each other. They were like playing football.
It's like you had to learn how to shoot and box at the same time. You had to train with a boxing coach and a trainer back in those days, because somebody was going to come at you. You had to be ready.
And they were like hitting you with their elbows and forearms and
everything,
pushing you,
putting the foot under your foot when you're coming down, and oof.
And you notice why players from Jordan era had much more durability than players in this era. A player could get hit in the nose and it's broke.
Yeah,
it's like a player can fall and ACL tore. It's like, because the durability and the toughness and the grit from back then, it was so much going on that you were built for that. You come now, you can't. You touch somebody on the elbow, it's a foul. So, it's a lot of softness in it,
Do you guys wish they still fought a little bit, mix it up a little bit?
Hell yeah, I wanted to see. Yeah. I would love to see some scrapping in the NBA.
Yeah. Come on. Do you think it ended with like the Miami Heat and Knicks era, like that kind of?
I think it ended when the Malice in the Palace,
when they tested up into the stand.
Oh yeah,
that was when it ended. It's like, if y'all ever do this again, it's done. So I think that's when it ended like that. We're done with that chapter.
Because remember, it was still ramping up back.
It was kind of, it was itching up there, but when that happened, that just put a hold on everything.
Just killed it.
Well, first they had the issue with like Latrell Sprewell choked the hell out
PJ,
of
Carlissimo.
And then I think
remember
the Malice at the Palace. That thing was just
when Jeff Van Gundy ran on the court and he grabbed whose leg did he grab? Was it Lonzo Morton? No, he was on.
He grabbed.
I don't know. Maybe it was Ewing or something like that. But it was one of the guys that were just so big they just kept walking with him, like holding his leg. I love that. I was a big Knicks fan right there, so
that
was
was tough.
That was awesome.
me.
Well, yeah, and then you talk about Jordan. Jordan punched Reggie Miller, right? Like they went at it.
Yeah, they went at it. I mean,
Jordan.
Jordan
they were still
punched
throwing
by Danny Ferry. Ferry punched Jordan. Jordan slapped him up, gave him a 2-piece spicy. It was
I gotta look up that highlight.
Yeah, look it up. Look up Danny Ferry versus Jordan, and you'll see some slaps going on. Yeah, so it was a lot of that, but I would love to see it. I don't want people to get hurt. Don't get me wrong,
right?
But, I mean, just a good punch in the mouth sometimes just make just a little something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they can do it in hockey. Shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a part of the game. Hockey, that's a part of the game. That's required. You got to have that in hockey.
Those guys like damn near cut their heads off with those sticks. I'm like, man, you slice that whole guy's face open. Why? Got to make that shot. Got to make the shot.
That's tough.
Man, those guys are crazy, man. All right, so we have some homework for the next episode.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
3 covers by 3 contemporary artists.
That's right. And
all rap, right?
All rap. Just
all rap.
We're doing a Diggin In Da Crates EP.
Okay.
So we're gonna do a 4-song EP, a 3-song EP, and one of ours. We'll see whose song is gonna make the EP. We all got to vote the song to make the EP.
Hey, Naki, if this goes somewhere, you got to produce the tracks.
Yeah, you guys do some of the vocal coaching. Your hands, everybody.
He did it like this. You got to put these tight pants on.
Now, why am I wearing the gloves with the fingers cut out?
These are platform shoes.
Right.
Go put these on.
On the leather jeans, all that, man. Come on, let's hook it up.
You think about it, African Bombata and all those guys, how they used to come out with all the.
Well, let's bring it back. At least bring it back enough that people would know that these guys deserve their flowers.
Right. Well, the message, though, it's thought about that. Didn't Ice Cube redo the message? Who redid the message?
Did he? He just took the beat.
Yeah, but I thought someone actually did the message. Who did the message?
They may have, but I mean, we will have to research it. But I never really, can remember that somebody actually remade the message.
Yeah, I think you just did Check Yourself, right?
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So they were just sampling those records. I'm talking about a redo. That'll be interesting.
We're gonna do a whole redo. We'll get the artist and the song, and we'll see if that makes our Diggin In Da Crates EP.
All right.
I like it.
Wrap up the live right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, you guys. Well, this was fun.
Diggin in the Crates. Diggin in the Crates. Diggin in the Crates. Diggin in the Crates. Let's take it back.